Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror, adapted by Thomas E. Fuller.
When a traveler in north-central Massachusetts takes the wrong fork at the junction of the Owlsbury Pike, just beyond Dean's Corners, he comes upon a lonely and curious country.
Across a covered ridge, one sees a small village huddled between the Miskatonic's oddly serpent-like upper reaches and the vertical slope of Round Mountain, and wonders at the cluster of rotting, gabled roofs, bespeaking an earlier architectural period than that of the neighboring region.
Afterwards, one sometimes learns that one has been through Dunwich.
Dunwich.
Avoid Dunwich.
Shun Dunwich.
Deny Dunwich. Dunwich Horror. Dunwich
Horror.
Dunwich
Horror.
It was in the township of Dunwich, in a large and partially inhabited farmhouse, that Wilbur Whately was born at 5 a.m. on a Sunday, the 2nd of February, 1913.
Yes, it's true. Lavinia Whately.
Wizard Whately's albino daughter? That poor ugly creature. Not really.
Last month, me and the bishop went by and saw it. Says you wouldn't think Lavinia was ugly if you'd seen that baby. Says he looks like a dark little goat. Lavinia seems right proud of him, though.
Who's the daddy?
Don't know. Lavinia ain't telling. An old wizard, he just laughs when anyone asks him. Just laughs and laughs and laughs.
I don't care what folks think. If Lavinia's boy looks like his pa, he wouldn't look like nothing you expect. You needn't think the only folks is the folks hereabouts. Lavinia's read some and seen some things that most of you only tell about. I calculate a man is as good a husband as ye can find this side of Aylesbury. And if ye knowed as much about the hills as I do, you wouldn't set no better church wedding nor. Let me tell you something. Someday your folks will hear a child of Lavinia's are calling his father's name on top of Sentinel Hill.
Hush-a-bye, sweet baby, my sweet baby. Tell you things I will. Tell you all the things. Kill things. Show you things I will. Show you thy granddad's books. They be yourn once you're sitting for 'em. Oh, sweet baby. Such a good baby you be. Show you thy daddy I will. Bye, baby bunting. Daddy's gone a-hunting. Daddy's gone.
I brung the Alderney cows you bought offen my boy Curtis, wizard.
And here be your price, Zechariah.
These be good coins, wizard. Don't look like none I ever seen afore.
Oh, they be good, I expect. No matter gold be gold, cousin. Gold be gold.
And you be wanting 2 more next week.
Aye, and the week after that. And the week after that, and the week after that.
Aye, that's what he says. 2 Alderney cows each week, paid with that weird gold of his. And 'tain't near any need for 'em, I seed. The strange thing is, Curtis and I, we keep taking cows out to Wizard, and there ne'er seems to be any more'n 10 or 12 of the sorriest looking critters, right bloodless. There must be some kind of blight or the distemper is all I can see. There it's that rotten old barn of his, there the filthy pasturage. Them sick cows, less them as I could see, had these weird sores onto 'em, kind of like cuts almost. Wizard, he had 'em too, on his neck like. I mentions it to him. He laughs, just laughs, like it's the funniest thing he ever hears. Gold's good, though, so I supposes we'll keep a-selling to him.
In the spring after Wilbur's birth, Lavinia resumed her customary rambles in the hills, bearing in her misproportioned arms the swarthy child. Wilbur's growth was phenomenal. Within 3 months of his birth, he had attained a size and muscular power not usually found in infants under a full year of age, and no one was really unprepared when, at 7 months, he began to walk unassisted, with falterings which another month were sufficient to remove.
It were sometime in the fall, about Halloween, if I recollect it right. I seed 'em. Yeah, it were right afore that great fire top Signal Hill. About midnight it were. I were looking to catch a heifer what strayed, and I seed 'em in the light of my lantern. The boy were running up the hill, right sturdy he were. His mama right behind. Most dropped my lantern then. Naked they was. At least Lavinia Whately was. Little boy Wilbur, now it seemed like he were wearing a fringed belt and maybe some dark trousers. They just ran through the underbrush like they didn't care for the briars or brambles. That's all I remember. That great fire top Sentinel, them running towards it. Running.
My name is Houghton. I have a medical practice in Aylesbury and therefore have some knowledge of the citizens of Dunwich. Wilbur Whately commenced to talk at the age of 11 months. His facial aspect, too, is remarkable for its maturity, for though he shared his mother's and grandfather's chinlessness, his firm and precociously shaped nose united with the expression of his large, dark, almost Latin eyes to give him an air of quasi-adulthood and well-nigh preternatural intelligence. He was, however, exceedingly ugly, despite his appearance of brilliancy, there being something almost goatish or animalistic about him. For some reason, the people of Dunwich feared the boy, feared him even more than his grandfather, old Wizard Whately. As for his mother, I don't think they ever thought of her at all.
Old Whately continued to buy cattle without measurably increasing the size of his herd. He also cut timber and began to repair the unused parts of his house, a spacious, peak-roofed affair whose rear end was buried entirely in the rocky hillside, and whose 3 least ruined ground floors had always been sufficient for himself and his daughter. Now he began restoring the long-abandoned upper story of the house, tightly boarding up all the windows in the reclaimed section.
Even more inexplicable was his fitting up of another downstairs room for his new grandson. This chamber he lined with tall, firm shelving, along which he began gradually to arrange in apparently careful order all the rotting ancient books and parts of books he had gathered over his lifetime.
I made some use of 'em, eh? Good use of 'em. But the boy's sitting to be making better use of 'em. He ought to have 'em as well as soon as he can, for they're going to be all of his learning. He be growing. You ought to have 'em, eh? You ought to have 'em.
When Wilbur was a year and 7 months old, that was in September of 1914, his size and accomplishments were almost alarming. He had grown as large as a child of 4, and was a fluent and incredibly intelligent thinker. At home he would pore diligently over the queer pictures and charts in his grandfather's books, while old Whately would instruct and catechize him through long, hushed afternoons.
Ya, so, Nagai, Bag Shoga, Ya, Sofa,
Bag Shoga, Ya, Yo, Sofa, Yo, Sofa, Yo, Sofa.